This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
You won't find that salesy stuff here. You'll find networking mixed with beer. You can't stop in just to say hi. We'll kick you out if you're that guy. We are IT in the D. Ooh, this is IT in the D.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is the IT in the D Show. This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D Show.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
I used to hang out at the Magumbo Bar. It was a rough place, the seediest dive on the wharf, populated with every reject and cutthroat from Bombay to Calcutta. It's worse than Detroit.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come. Shut up.
I dig you IT geeks. This is Dre DeMatteo from Sons of Anarchy. You are listening to IT in the D.
Bear me. What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly.
Come on. Someone tries. To hell with this. I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
Hi, this is Ralph Macchio, and you're listening to IT in the D Show. Wax on, you know what.
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing. The alphabet. It's brilliant.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the beak off.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movie, and you're listening to IT in the D.
Yes, Sensei!
You're not very informative, but wow, are you entertaining.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT in the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
I'm a geek, not a nerd.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. IT in the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear, I'm in my underwear. Hey, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact. I was banging on the wang. Skeptical Dave is skeptical.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
It's just too big. It's way too big.
We just lost our clean tag on iTunes.
This is Robert Hayes, Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo Bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Turn your microphone off. Just get out.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed. Sir, had you better buckle up. Buckle this. Ludicrous speed. Go!
All right, and here we are live, episode 107 of the IT and the D Show. This is Dave the Geek. We do not have Bob the sales guy in the house. He is out at a Cisco conference out in Las Vegas, having a terrible time, I'm sure. But we do have Nuri, the FNG, the AST, the BOM, the et cetera, et cetera.
Are those airport codes I mentioned the last week or what?
in the house.
Yeah.
And we do have Chioki and Elise joining us. Chioki is from Grand Circus. Elise is with Detroit Labs. And then we do have Brian and Jamie, who was with us here on, I believe it was our third episode out of the new studio, when about a 16-block radius lost power, and it was the only issue we ever had, and we had everybody out, because long before the podcast Detroit Network happened, we wound up it was just us, and so we could come in the next night, and life was good. And and unfortunately, Jamie was traveling, and so we said, whenever you're back in town on a Monday night, come on out, and we'll make that work. So thank you for coming back and joining us again.
It's good to be back and illuminated.
Yes, exactly.
Even with the power out, we sat here for like an hour and a half getting to know each other. It was pretty strange.
I'm not going to lie. I'm still mad to some degree that we didn't, basically sit there. Like, if I'm mad I didn't have the portable recorder in the center of the table, because those were some of the best conversations that we had.
You can't reproduce brilliance. You just can't do it.
It was genius. So, hey, before we get rolling, I want to make sure I get this out there. So, I'm not going to lie. This one's a little bit challenging. So, this episode, this segment of the IT and the D Show is brought to you by FanDuel. So FanDuel, if you're not familiar with it, it's a 1-week fantasy football league. So let's go ahead and talk about fantasy football for a minute. Personally, I've always said fantasy football is Dungeons and Dragons for people that used to beat up people that played Dungeons and Dragons. But hey, it's out there and it's good. So the Lions are getting ready to roll. There are players and stats and things that one might care about. But here's what I know. So what I do know, because I did, we sat through a presentation and we signed up for it. And it's actually really simple. And I'm not going to lie. Like, one of the reasons why I don't do the whole fantasy football thing with the guys is it's like 16 weeks of pain and suffering.
And you can't commit to anything for more than a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I'm surprised I've been married twice for more than 8 years of pop.
What episode is this? 107?
Yeah, we're 107 episodes in. Yeah, who knew? But no, so I mean, it's a 1-week fantasy football league. Like, you have your whole thing, and you've got your dollar allotment, and you can buy and whatever players that you want, as long as it fits under your budget and life's good. But so FanDuel, they're the leader in 1-week fantasy football league with more winners and more payouts than any other site. They're paying out over $75 million this football season. It is that salary cap football format. Entry fees start at just $1. Anyone can play. So, I mean, like I said, when I went out, I signed up, I started a league. We'll share the link out. It's free to join our league. I want people to come play and just have fun with me, because, well, if I have to do this, you skeevy bastards have to come along with me. That's the rule. So go to FanDuel.com. Here's the cool thing, and I almost forgot. So if you go to FanDuel.com, click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and put in the code ITD.
Is that a coupon code?
It is. It is a coupon code. So you put in the code ITD, not IT in the D, just ITD up there on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. For every $1 that you deposit, FanDuel is going to match it dollar for dollar. So, like, if you just want to play and you want to throw in like just $10 just to see what happens, okay, well, FanDuel is going to give you an extra $10, and then you can join the $20 league that can help you win like $500 instead of the $10 league that like you can win like $100 at.
And then basically you're going to know like the end of the week if you've won. You don't have to wait 16 weeks to do it.
And you get your, like, apparently like it's an instant payout thing. Like when you win and when the week's over, you get your monies and you're gone and you're out.
Fantasy football for people with ADD, basically.
How do you
oh my God, I'm in. I'm totally in.
Does the money come in a manila envelope at the end of the week from a guy who delivers to you, or is it a check?
Hey, Joey from FanDuel, here's your cash. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for playing. Yeah. No, it's a little
light.
Yeah, exactly. It's your payment. Exactly. A little light this week, Joey. No, so it's it's all your PayPal account, your credit card, however you want to do it. To obviously online transactions, keep yourself safe. It is what it is. But yeah, so I mean, it's kind of cool. So again, you go to FanDuel.com, you click on the little mic in the upper right hand corner, code ITD. They will match you dollar for dollar up to $200. So I mean, if you want to get nuts and you want to start a league and this is your thing, go at it. You can get up to $200 free from FanDuel for signing up. Do your thing. So FanDuel.com, every day is a new season. That's FanDuel, FanDuel, for those of you who don't know how to spell fan or duel.com. Go ahead and sign up today.
Great job. Great job.
Nice.
Oh, wow, I made it through that without freaking out. Life's good. So, that was supposed to be Bob's job, and Bob's in Vegas, and, well, yeah, so it is what it is.
Bob's probably actually in the sales presentation right now.
Listening.
We're listening.
I'm
Hey, Bob.
surprised my phone's not blowing up with all the different ways that I just screwed that up. That'll happen. But no, so to cover our own business, so you can find us out at www.itinthed.com. We are at facebook.com/itinthed. On Twitter, we are at itinthed. We had our event a couple weeks ago at Hopcat, had a great time at that. Bob
Huma room.
At the Huma, it's not a Tuma room. It was fantastic. We're totally going to be there more. I love that venue. Bob and I did the 10 Commandments of Networking shtick, our presentation at a chamber event.
I heard the attendees really liked you, but
the
some of
attendees loved us.
organizers-
The organizers were less than thrilled with us because we were talking about why you should not pay to go to networking events.
with a beer in your hand,
and all the people in the room had paid to go to that networking event. So yeah, pretty sure we're never going to be invited back to that again. But no, so we did that, and then the important one is, so we've got our Pink Slip Party coming up on September 17th. For those of you who don't know, we do two kinds of events. We have our casual networking socials like the one we did in the Huma room, which is, show up, hang out, grab a beer, whatever, Coke, whatever you need, and get to know people in the industry. Then there's the Pink Slip parties, which are an animal in and of themselves. The last few that we've done, we've taken over the Majestic. We took over St. Andrews Hall for a couple of them. We got too big there, so we took over the Majestic, and we'll be taking over the Majestic again this time. So it's Thursday, September 17th. Typically, we have between 125 and 150 recruiters that show up, about 1,000 people in total. So, here's Reality 101. If you're in, around, near, sniffing, thinking about getting into anything about the information technology industry here in the Metro Detroit area, that means coder, developer, sysadmins, graphics people, analysts, project managers, anybody and everybody. If you are not at this event, you are a goddamn fool, and I'm just going to put that out there. And it's not even, the best part is you don't even have to be there looking for a job. We always, our events are all about networking. These bigger ones just get bigger and insane because the media latches onto the cutesy, it's a Pink Slip Party name. But show up and network. Just meet people in the industry that you might want to work for, not now, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. That's what the entire point is.
We tell people all the time that if you're there looking for a job, it's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
So come to our events.
Well, no, if you're there looking for a job the day you lost your job, it's too late.
2 weeks before, okay.
Right. So it's always important to come out and network. Super low pressure. No one's going to give you a sales pitch. There's usually some food, tons of beer that you can get. I DJ, so it's pretty relaxed. So come out and hang out. And,
I'm not going to lie. You did it. I still listen to the mix that you threw out there. Nuri does so for those who don't know, the backstory on Nuri beyond we sort of adopted him at PenguinCon and off we went. So Nuri moved out here from New York to get further involved with PenguinCon, and out there he was a DJ that was pretty in demand and does really solid stuff. So our last event, people were like, "Who in the ever living hell is doing the music? Who'd you guys bring in?" And I'm like, "It's Nuri. he's just up there.
What's your DJ name?
It's just Nuri.
Nuri.
Yeah, I'm on SoundCloud, Mixcloud. And I kept trying to crank the levels up because I don't want to overrule everyone's kind of networking, but I also don't want to be kind of quiet. So
yeah,
it's a fun balance.
What genre?
I played some deep house actually, so it's kind of smooth, lounge,
good. And it was you wouldn't when you think of house, you
the system is down.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you read the room and notice there was a lull and see that maybe you should play something more upbeat, and then people would get more oh yeah.
No, everyone's just kind of networking, doing their thing. I don't want to be in your face. I'm kind of here's some background music to network to.
DJ Nuri, not DJ Assault.
Or DJ Snake.
Right.
I'm gonna go to the party and just wait for you to drop a beat.
I will. I'll drop one.
No, it did. It went really, really well. So that's the event on 9/17, and then it looks like in October we're going to wind up getting roped in with the NUCO event that's going on downtown, and so we're going to wind up being the after party for that down at Firebird Tavern.
We do after parties really well.
Yes, we do.
DJ Nerd at the after party. I love that.
Yes. Then you can drop some beats.
I'll check the AV requirements at Firebird because that's where we're going to be. So that's us. That's just making sure that the little business gets handled and off we go. So where do we start? There's been so many fun things that have happened.
I think my happiest news of the week has to be the death of Flash is imminent.
I've heard that before.
Well, Well, I think it's actually going to happen this time. I think the big thing is good guy Google has basically in the next version of Chrome is going to stop auto-playing Flash ads. So basically, who's going to put out an ad that's Flash that's supposed to be animated when you can just put out a GIF instead for your ad, right? And 84% of ads on the internet are actually Flash-based, which kind of boggled my mind. But as soon as Google stops, they've got 50% of the market. I think that's going to really turn a tide for Adobe and Flash.
I'm going to miss those dancing skeletons to say I can get 2.5% of my mortgage. This is a sad moment for me.
Said no one ever.
I mean, Flash has been the biggest pain in the ass over the years. I mean, all the big 0-day hacks, everything that like all the big breaches, they've all been Flash-based. They've all been Flash 0 days.
Yep.
I'm ready to be done with Flash. So Flash.
It'll be good.
I want to play taps.
Well, and again, just let it go. For the love of God, start working with HTML5. Do it right, please. Yes,
absolutely.
So the other fun news that I saw that made me laugh, and I'm not going to lie, this kind of cracked me up a little bit. So the CEO, or now former CEO of Ashley Madison,
he's a classic guy, right?
Oh, absolutely. So he resigned.
It's about the right thing to do,
but not because of the hacks.
Oh.
So he resigned to protect his privacy and his private life because, well, his email address and his profile were in the giant leak. But here's the funny part. Like, so why is it breaking news that the guy that was the CEO of a website built on having affairs was, I don't know, having affairs?
Not surprised.
It doesn't seem like that should be breaking news for anyone at all.
I think the interesting thing was he wasn't using his own site to find affairs. He was sending emails from his corporate account to escorts. They actually took the phone numbers from the emails that were sent to him and cross-referenced them against an escort database. Yeah, he was seeing 2 different escorts.
Because it's the internet. That happens.
It's the internet, yeah.
Maybe it was just a QC effort,
Yeah, I need to test it.
QA insight, honey.
Well, yeah, since it turns out that most of the quote on the female members on the site were either escorts, shills for adultfriendfinder.com or anything like that. I mean, he might have just been doing a little quality control. Yeah, you never know.
It was Gizmodo that analyzed the hack and basically said that there were only 12,000 active female users on the site.
It was very disproportional, right? I mean, 5.6 million males and
12,000.
It said some large percentage of the females.
It's like one of our networking events.
001 at Ashley. Yeah, it was just like really generic email. 001 at ashleymadison.com. 002. So that's an interesting perspective on the whole story.
Well, and I'm curious to see that what makes me laugh is that they've gotten more different. As all the publicity is hit and all the the PR that they're doing now has very little to do about defending themselves about the hack. They're doing way more defending themselves about the number of women that are actually on the site, and that's the part that makes me laugh. They're like, oh no, like in the past, in X number of days, we've tracked 2 million messages that were sent by female members. That still doesn't mean they were real. That still doesn't mean that because the story I keep coming back to is there was a site in China that we talked about a few months ago where a guy set up sort of an ashleymadison.com in China, inside the Great Firewall. And it came to light that there was basically one female on the entire website
working 24 hours a day
that he was paying to run all these shill accounts, and the government killed him because he was running fraud on a massive scale, and that's how China rolls. So, it makes me laugh that they're so adamant about no. Ignore the fact that we got hacked. It's all about the number of women that were actually on our site. No, that's absolutely what we're going to focus on here.
I mean, it wasn't the data dump because the hacker said you need to shut down or we'll dump the data, and they said, well, there's our revenue model, but they realized the scam would be up and people would understand I'm paying this money, I'm not getting anything.
Well, that's the kill. Like that to me. That would have said, why would you not acquiesce to whatever demand they had in order to cover up your dirty little secret? That should have been it. And Nuri actually stumbled across this one that made me laugh.
It was that even with all the news, even if there's only 12,000 active women on the site, they're still getting new members. They released that they'd had over 100,000 new signups this week. And are people just, what are they looking for? Are people just idiots?
Maybe they're curious.
I just
what's on there?
Or maybe that now they've been hacked, they're actually safe to go find an affair.
I'm going with the lightning strikes twice theory. That's they already got hacked. Surely they can't get hacked again. Now it's safe for me to go on the site and find an affair.
I'm interested in the information security team post-mortem follow-up. What they're going to do to fix all. You don't hear anything about that. It's or just What do they do? What do they do wrong? Maybe that would be an interesting thing.
Yeah,
this is a technology show. What do they do wrong?
Yeah, because for all intents and purposes, you're just dumping your money into an open pit of hackers.
Even worse, though, in that dump was source code. So if you have the source code of their website, then you start looking for cross-site scripting vulnerabilities or overflowing buffers and stuff like that. And before you know it, it's going to be hacked again. I give it 6 months at the most.
No one will care then, probably. Old news, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It'll go away. But I mean, so the conversation that I found interesting that's evolved out of this, because I mean, there's the hack and all the fun stuff that went on with that. But the conversation has started to turn where it's, okay, so when is doxing okay?
Oh.
And so like everybody, like, so the original, so doxing is basically releasing the public, the personally identifiable information about somebody that you find out onto the open net. And so, like these, whatever the 10 gigs of data, had names, addresses, phone numbers,
salary information.
Oh yeah, all this information. Because it wasn't just Ashley Madison. It was what was it? Oh God,
a network of sleazy sites.
Exactly. There was the men in power or something. It was something like it was like guys that were looking for sure. So it was all about your salary and what position and title and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty in-depth information that they had. So. Initially it was, oh well, haha, you were cheating on your wife, and you got busted. Well, okay, but what about the people that were in there that are in open relationships? Right. What about the people that hey, I've been married for 20 years, and my wife has MS. Or is paralyzed, from the neck down, it just is what it is, and so, I met somebody else through that site that's in a similar set of circumstances where, their husband is in that kind of mess, and that's the paradox of, when is it, it's okay to do this when it's somebody you're morally against, and that's a really, really slippery slope to go down. And then so like that's where I'm hoping the conversation about this goes is that okay, yeah, so and we've talked about this, whether it's the Target hack or this hack or any of the other hacks that go on. What people fail to realize is that none of those are isolated incidents. Mm-hmm. And so as that information cache grows, and there's more information that you can start tying together, like, okay, so look, I found your user profile on Ashley Madison, and I found out this much about you. And then I found that same username on Target.com and found that much about you. That, oh, by the way, I happen to have your bank account tied to it that you didn't use on Ashley Madison, but you're using with Target.
Or we decrypted your password and it was this, and we guessed that your email password is the same thing.
Exactly. And so, it's or even if it looks the same when it's hashed. So therefore, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try, Bank of America with that same username and that same password. I'm going to try. That's the really, deep, freaky part that nobody.
And now there's also things like extortion scams. People are going through the list,
which is going on,
sending emails and saying, "I will release your data unless you give me $250." It spirals out of control. If it was me, I'd be totally okay with releasing the scumbag CEO's information and his emails and things like that. But
yeah,
people, there are 10 million people here who do not deserve to be hurt, in my opinion. But
no, why is he a scumbag though? What did he do to be a scumbag? He's a.
Well, he definitely said
he filled the need.
I'm asking to fill me in. What did he say that was really made people so controversial? Like this, I hate this guy.
Well, I remember
he's the CEO of a company.
I know, and he saw a need, he filled it, dude. And that's the point. It's the whole life is short, have an affair. It is what it is. You can't legislate morality. You can't just because
unless you're in Alabama. Hi, Alabama.
Hey,
we just lost our 5 listeners in Alabama.
Hi, Birmingham. But no, so it is what it is. I may not morally agree with somebody else's choices, but that doesn't mean that it's my right to dictate to them what it is. It's the whole. Not to blow this completely out of proportion, but the whole abortion pro-choice thing. Dude, I don't understand why guys talk about that. It's not us. It's not our world. It's not our selves that get roped into that and have to deal with the repercussions. It's like I've always said. If dudes can get pregnant, birth control would be available in 6-pack form and be like
Pabst
$1.
Blue birth control. I love it. Yes. It's probably lowering our sperm count as we.
It's right. PBR. It's Pabst Blue Reproductive. It's But that's the thing that and the funny part to me is even the ultra conservative talk show hosts that are out there are kind of backing away from the Ashley Madison sucks, debate, because they're realizing that some of this other conversation is happening and it's not necessarily making them look good to try to keep banging on the moral high ground when there's all these other circumstances out there.
You said banging
on the moral high.
Sorry.
But no, so I am. I'm curious to see how the conversation evolves. I mean, I hope it evolves beyond the, like I said, the so because let's be honest, we all went to all the different websites and looked up our friends' email addresses. We all did.
I checked my own and it's not there.
So. Oh, I knew mine wasn't there.
I wasn't sure. It's been how many years?
Yeah,
right?
true.
So,
yeah, I might have gotten drunk one night and signed up. Who knows? But no, so, I mean, it's like I am. I'm curious to see how that evolves. But speaking of evolving, the one that I think we have to keep a very, very close eye on, Nuri, they're trying to ban our $900 flamethrowers.
What? No, bullshit.
So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I have found my winter business model. There is a company in Detroit. There is another one in Troy. You can buy a flamethrower that shoots 25 to 50 feet. It is not regulated by the ATF.
It's funny, it's not considered a firearm,
exactly,
right?
It shoots fire, but it's not a firearm.
It shoots fire out of your arms.
Well,
it's not a firearm.
So they've already said it can't be classified as a firearm because technically it doesn't fire a separate projectile. It's just a shoot of flame that comes out because of the chemical, but it's still technically attached to the weapon, so that's how that works. I'm not a lawyer. But so it's not a firearm, even though it shoots fire. But so the mayor of Warren is taking steps to try to ban them from the city of Warren. Whereas, I want to open the IT and the D Extreme Snow Removal Company.
Extreme.
You call us, we will show up with 2 flamethrowers, and we will stand by your garage.
And I'll film.
And blow 30-foot, 40-foot, 50-foot flames down your driveway, and snow's gone.
IT and the D is not responsible for any accidents that may happen while flame in your garage.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a lawyer.
What about a large hairdryer or something instead?
No, it doesn't shoot.
Not as cool as a flamethrower.
No, I suppose.
It's funny, this place in Troy, the city of Troy is actually trying to pass legislation that you cannot store flamethrowers in the city of Troy, which would totally destroy a business that basically keeps a bunch of flamethrowers in their warehouse.
Yes.
Who do they sell it to?
Apparently they've sold 350 of them to brave souls all across America.
Hypothetically speaking, might be me. Might be.
Maybe,
hypothetically.
How far is the flame actually throw?
25 to 50 feet.
That is
That's
amazing.
a pretty big
Birds
range.
for 35 seconds?
There are perfectly practical uses for it.
Like scaring birds.
Farmers, snow removal. Farmers use it for controlled burns on their farms. But I'm thinking more snow removal and
spiders.
Parties
right?
on my spiders.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mosquitoes.
Burn everything down.
Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be safe.
Kill it with fire.
Yeah.
I've heard weed killing too. You can use that for
absolutely.
a brick driveway. You can.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, actually, that would be for a brick or even a
You got a
cement
couple of
driveway.
seasons covered now. So
Absolutely. See, yeah. I mean, it's
Clearing your gutters.
Clearing the leaves. So practical.
I don't understand what their issue is with it. I think it's a phenomenal idea. It's a great industry. It should be allowed to grow and flourish as far as
you
I'm
could hunt
concerned.
and cook at the same time. Too.
Do I smell burning flesh? Is that mine?
Yeah, exactly. It's all we need is a deer running on fire through a forest.
What do you have to
bring it all
wear
crashing
to
down.
What
do you have to wear?
What do you have to wear? On a shorts and a t-shirt?
Well,
A PBR shirt.
What should you wear?
Oven
Yes.
mitts,
Probably something flame retardant.
Asbestos lined clothing.
flame chaps. I don't know. You have a chainsaw chaps. You have flame chaps. You know,
I'm thinking. Honestly, I'm thinking Ghostbusters outfit.
Yes.
I'm thinking Ghostbusters outfit with the pack on the back and the flamethrower. That's my Halloween costume. I'm pretty sure.
It sounds pretty good.
Speaking of things for sale, did you see that Amazon has a new delivery option?
Why is it not here yet?
So you can basically get alcohol delivered to your house in 1 hour on Amazon.com if you live in Seattle.
In my hometown.
Seattle.
Sad that I don't live there
Not
anymore.
on the east side, though. Not in Kirkland, right?
Yeah, again, why is it not here yet?
But in my city.
Is it coming on drones?
No, not on drones, but it's a $7 charge if your order is under $50, and it's free if it's over $50. And I don't know if you guys drink like I do, but $50 and booze in a single order is that's like table stakes.
Yeah, that's like 2 decent bottles, possibly 1.
Or a lot of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Right. Yeah, depending on who's over.
Right, yeah. So Amazon, we in Detroit would love to have your 1 hour booze delivery. You'd kill.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazon Party Store. love
See,
it.
and again, we talk about the drones and the driverless cars and just what a phenomenal that would be out. Dude, if a drone, seriously, if you're on the back deck having a party and you're all hanging out and there's a bonfire going. And you push a couple buttons, and a drone brings you a fifth of vodka.
It's like the Hunger Games.
Best night ever.
Oh my god!
Well, if we got drones delivering alcohol, I got a new use for the flamethrower then too.
No, you can't shoot. No, you can't mess with the drone that's bringing you the vodka.
No,
other
neighbor.
people would.
Yeah.
It's
like hang out at U of M. Just
bring me a Molotov cocktail. Anyway, and with that,
I was going to say, actually, this segment went a lot faster than I thought it would. So, all right, so we are bumping up against a break. We'll be back in about 8 minutes. This is the IT in the D show, and we'll see you in a sec.
See you.
IT in the D, Networking Detroit, one beer at a time. ITinthed.com.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT in the D show.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
If you're a reseller of IT solutions, the original equipment manufacturer should not be your strongest competitor. At Quantum, we understand the true meaning of partnership. We work with our channel to deliver industry-leading solutions together, all the time, not just when it's convenient for us. Heck, we don't even have a direct sales force. Quantum is looking for a few good partners. Call 586-745-4DXI to get started. That's 586-745-4394.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D show.
Welcome back, episode 107, IT in the D show. Hanging out here in the beautiful Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. I am Nuri the FNG. We're here with Dave the Geek. Bob, the sales guy, is on location in Las Vegas.
Not on an Asian sex store.
Not on an Asian sex store. So now everyone knows what AST means. It's not an airport code. Yeah.
This is what I walk into.
This is exactly what you walk into. This segment is brought to you by Uber. So I know everyone out there likes making money, so I had to share this awesome opportunity with you. Ever thought about driving for Uber? Uber is basically, if you don't know what it is, I don't know where you've been the last many years, but it's a smartphone app that basically connects riders with drivers. I take Uber all the time. I basically stopped renting cars when I work. I basically take Uber now because I like to take clients out, I like to drink, and then having a rental car is basically like having a gigantic something chained to you. It's like a boat anchor.
It's essence of liability, yes.
Exactly. And then also the cool part is like chatting with different drivers. I've met so many awesome people. It's like, you think of being in a cab, it totally sucks. Being in an Uber is very different because the people who drive Uber are generally really cool folks. I took an Uber to the airport when I was leaving for India, and the guy was basically an IT guy who worked for a major car supplier who in his spare time likes to drive Uber. Just to meet people, to have a good time, things like that. So basically, Uber is a super cool thing, and if you've got a car and a license, put them to work for you, earning serious life-changing money today. Sign up to drive with Uber now. Visit drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com. Drivewithuber.com.
Well, and I do. I mean, I know a guy. So Mike McMahon, he's out there. He may or may not be listening. He's one of the wrestling guys.
Hey, Mike.
So this is a guy who registered. He's a big burly black dude, and registered under. He wrestled under the name Mike McMahon's Vince McMahon's illegitimate son. Among other names that cannot be broadcast on radio. But he does this, and he's like every week he's posting a screenshot of his earnings that week.
Wow.
And he's killing it being an Uber driver. He's making $800, $900, $1,000 a week. Good for him, man. I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, more people should be doing it. Why not?
And you have a good time and you show your personality. I remember one night I got picked up at the 3rd Street Bar after a lot of drinks. This guy pulls up in a Hummer, and a Hummer H3. I get in his car and music's blaring, and he's blaring Deep House. And I'm like, this is going to be an awesome ride home. And so we just shot the shit for the 20 minutes it took to get home. Had a great time. I'm like, this is what Uber's all about.
That's how it should be.
My sister-in-law actually started being an Uber driver when she moved to a new city so that she could get to know the city and meet new people. Perfect.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, I use Uber, for myself and because I have a college student. So His Uber is linked up to my debit card, so there will be no DUI because I'm sure he's drinking. Yes, absolutely.
Does everyone here talk to their Uber driver?
Oh, absolutely.
All the time.
Do you ever
I
give him the silent treatment?
Yes, yes. There was one man, and he was very crabby, but I think, he was just having a little bit of a rough day. And it was, he says, "Do you want music?" I said, "You know what? Not today. We'll be okay today. We're only going 7 minutes down the road. It's okay."
So yes, for the new voice in the studio, we've been joined by Karen Hubbard, aka K Hub.
What's up, world?
So that when the whole iRise thing happened, Karen came along as part of the family, and away we go. But so I'm not going to lie, just real quick before we dive in with Jamie and Brian. So a funny story that came out that I think we have to try. Uber roulette is a thing.
So you put 5 Ubers in a car and spin the chamber?
No. So you summon an Uber, and then you fire up Yelp, and you find wherever closest bar that you're whatever area you want to go to. You pick a random bar, and that's where you're going via Uber, and you just do that over the course of the night.
So how much is the cleaning fee if you throw up in the back of an Uber?
Apparently $150.
Oh, no kidding.
That's totally reasonable. I mean,
we have a buddy of ours that was an Uber driver that had an unfortunate reversal of fortune happen in the back of his car.
That's why I would never be an Uber driver.
No, but I think if you're an Uber driver, that's what it is. You get $200 if someone throws up in your car.
Yes,
but I hear you have to take a picture of it and send it into Uber
that's
to kind of
vile.
prove it.
Yeah.
That's
I would just
worth
take
it.
their
Proof
word.
where it didn't happen. Picture didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's
true.
not worth it.
Not so bad.
All right, so
You have a
let's.
wall of Uber throw up.
There should be some kind of Instagram for it.
Should be a hashtag, a Tumblr, or something.
Right.
All right, so let's dive in with the Right Brain Network. So we've got Jamie Begin, who was here, like I said, our third episode when we had the horrific power outage that took us out, and it was just a bad timing issue that you couldn't make it back the next night. Tell everybody about DevOps. I mean, that's what you wanted to talk about, and this should not be breaking news for people, but I'm afraid that, like almost everything we talk about, that which we assume should be second nature is not. So, talk about DevOps, the conference that you've got coming up, and some of the things that's going on at Right Brain.
Sure. Well, Right Brain's a sponsor, but it's actually been put on by a group of kind of just self-organizing, independently employed guys, or some of us work for companies.
Ragtag band of brothers.
Yeah. So what it is DevOps Days is kind of like a national-wide conference circuit. They're all independently organized, but they all kind of have the same common theme, and that's just kind of promote kind of the DevOps philosophy or methodology. You talk to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different definitions of what DevOps is, and it kind of ranks up there with cloud, just kind of some of the trendiest.
No, the
keywords.
cloud is just someone else's computer. That's all the cloud is. We figured that one out.
So can you break down DevOps into the same kind of one sentence? I'm not familiar with that term myself.
So I term it as kind of a philosophy of shared accountability, and kind of what that goes back to is your traditional IT organizations are generally siloed kind of separately from the product or dev.
Right.
And the IT folks are concerned about security and stability and auditability. They're making sure that things that happened yesterday are going to happen today. Whereas your devs are typically breaking stuff they don't quite understand, and then they tend to kind of throw poo at each other. And so DevOps is kind of an opportunity to kind of bring those people closer together, kind of get them all moving in the same direction that's kind of closer to the customer. Brian, you got a better definition?
Not even that. It just helps the business operate smoother and quicker as a whole versus I have to wait for guy A to take care of this thing, and I have a really rocky relationship with guy A.
File a ticket.
Guy A really doesn't like me. It's going to take 2 weeks. You can think of it the Venn diagram scenario where the two circles overlap, and that's kind of like you're a developer, but you understand operations. You can perform both tasks. And I think that term is starting to bleed into other things well. There's also SecOps, security operations. So it's really just being less specialized and more like a breadth of technology across all the fields.
Well, and it seems like it's about being more nimble. I mean, we're living in a world now where if you are the stereotypical IT department that is annoying the ever-living hell out of your business customer is just going to pull out a credit card and stand up Amazon Web Services in, 9 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shadow IT, they call it.
And have an entire environment ready to go, and we don't need to wait your 19 weeks to stand up boxes and all that other nonsense. Off we go. I mean, it should be about being more quick and nimble and responsive to what the business needs.
It's a pretty radical way of thinking for some organizations already have a long-standing process and procedure like list in place. We've been doing this for 10 years, man.
Right.
And we're to keep our cubicles forever. And
like our Viking ship is so large to turn this thing, it's going to take 6 months, And the more startup guys are like, you know what? We have like a little jet boat, and we're just going to turn it real fast.
I was told by the CIO of a really large automotive company at one point, Dave, you're trying to turn a battleship like a speedboat. You need to slow down.
But I think those big boats could turn pretty fast. They
Especially
go to
when
war,
aliens
so
attack.
maybe it's just the people who are driving
Absolutely.
it.
That's the issue.
Thus, like the DevOps initiative, we want better drivers who are more educated, et cetera. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most relevant for a lot of you listeners is that's where the industry's headed. So this kind of goes back to one of the reasons we're putting on this conference is because the days of having a good career where you're actually racking and stacking, that's going away. And you've got to kind of acclimate to kind of where this career is moving, or where the industry is moving, to kind of steer your career in that direction as well. And that's kind of why we're putting on this conference, is to kind of help kind of raise the awareness of kind of what's happening in the IT industry, and why people who are maybe making a good living right now, setting up firewalls and rack and stacking, pulling cable, admitting boxes. You got to learn a few new tricks here to stay relevant. It's I remember one of the key points of my career is I used to work with a diehard Novell guy, C&E. Loved Novell, would absolutely not learn anything Microsoft. And I remember a round of layoffs came, and he was the first and only guy to go. So
you think?
Yep. So that just kind of sticks with me. I mean, we all know that this industry is moving so fast. It's one of the reasons we get into it. We kind of sometimes forget that our career has to evolve with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what? You can be. There are still websites out there that are running ASP 1.0. There are still, folks that are running on, whatever. Pick your legacy language.
Link tags and HTML.
No, and it's and COBOL's never going to go away, no matter what anybody says. There's some of the stuff that if you find a niche and you find but you're pigeonholing yourself so hard into one particular specialty, an area of expertise. Why not broaden your horizons? Why not make yourself so the conversation I always have, and I love bringing this back up, is I was one of our events having drinks with a VP of IT with a large company here, and in the span of a 20-minute conversation, the start of it was him lamenting that they had just let go of like 50 or 60 big iron, like COBOL, mainframe, IMS, DB2 developers. And then 20 minutes later, he was whining, bitching, and complaining that they couldn't find any .NET developers or Java developers and that kind of stuff. And so I called him out, and I'm like, dude, how do you not realize that with all of the training grants and all the other stuff that's going on out there in the world, you could have, in the span of like 6 weeks, had 50 or 60 people that you just let go that were the purple squirrel, that knew your big iron back end legacy systems and were also front end developers. How stupid are you? Because I mean, like every mainframe guy that shows up at one of our events, like, well, what should I learn? I'm like, .NET, Java. Like, be that person that knows the front end as well as like has all that experience on the back end systems. You'll find a job anywhere. Like, and he was like, oh, well, I hadn't really thought about that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you should next time before you go just willy-nilly dropping people off the org chart.
I think the business has to buy into it from like a cultural perspective as well.
True.
There's really, I mean, if I work at large company A and I go in and say, let's start a DevOps organization, you got to have buy-in from kind of the higher levels. And you kind of, this is what this conference is about. It's not just for technical people. It's for management. It's for developers. It's for operations, security focused. So it's good for your career and it's good for the community because through these events, it's more of like also, in addition to career building, it's very community building. This is not a sponsored, by company X organized conference where you have to come and listen to a sales pitch. The first half of it, it's a 2-day event. It's November 11th and 12th, which is pretty important. So you should put that on your calendar now.
Done.
You can go to DevOpsDays.org. And you can find Detroit there.
Wayne State University.
Yeah, Wayne State University, McGregor Conference Center. So, like, the first half is typically people who submit talks.
Oh, we were just there for the Converge and B-side stuff. Yep, absolutely.
Good event?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thumbs up, okay.
Great, and it's a decent venue. I mean, it's a lot of, big open spaces, separate meeting rooms, all that. Yeah, you'll do well.
So there's 2 pieces to it. Every day, it's kind of divided into half. The first half is people in the community who submit talks, things that we find and they find interesting, and they present on it. Okay. The second half of the day is it's called open space philosophy. So you go up on stage and you propose a topic. I really want to talk about this. and the people in the room raise their hand, and you say, okay, we'll meet me over.
Will there be a big 9-foot gong at any point in time?
I mean, if you want to bring one.
Like I do, I'll so make it. Dude, if you'll let me, I'll so make that happen.
This is a very open, collaborative space, so bring your gong, man. That's what you want to do. But people, they vote on topics, they go off into a room with 4 to 40 people and talk about this thing and they hash it out. With no guidance, it's completely free form. So it's like that both days.
So what sort of topics are you looking for, are you expecting for that first day at least?
Well, kind of what Brian said, what you're not going to see is a whole lot of this is the coolest DevOps-ish type tool that you should be adopting. It's much more about the culture and kind of just the way you've got to kind of adjust your thinking to do this. Kind of getting back to what he said, you've got to kind of get alignment with the business. You mentioned Right Brain Networks, the company I work at. We do a lot of DevOps consulting. And by far, that's the most difficult thing that we actually do is trying to impart change and kind of how people, you almost have to reorg certain departments or at least kind of break down certain barriers. It's not about the technology. It's all about changing the way you think. So that's
no doubt.
That's kind of the talks that we're looking for.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, one of the biggest pain in the asses that I've dealt with over the course of the past probably 20 years of my career. There was a gig that I took, and I took it specifically because they said, hey, we're trying to get off of mainframe, and we're trying to go to the more object-oriented databases, all that kind of fun stuff. And so about 9 months, and I built a 40-person team, and life was good, and we were rocking and rolling. And then 9 months in, they were like, yeah, that's a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. And getting people to it was getting people to change their thought processes from mainframe to procedural. It's difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy. You got to look for opportunity and failure. There's going to be bumps along the way, and things will be difficult. But when you do have victories, you got to celebrate them, and you celebrate it together with all these teams. That's what helps build a better organization, and you work better together. So it's really end to end.
It's funny that you're explaining this. I'm like, this is stuff that my company's doing, and I had no idea that we're doing it. So that's kind of a really good feeling to know that we're being pulled together for DevOps mentality, and I think that's just
if you got programmers on call along with your IT folks, that's a good sign that
our programmers and our developers actually sit on a lot of our releases to make sure things are going well, right? So it's there's a really good relationship between our two teams, and I think that's somebody at the top of my organization's thinking. So kudos on you guys.
All right, so November 11th and 12th, and it's you said down at Wayne State?
Yep.
Okay, so are our tickets out there and available? What does it cost? How do people find out more?
At this point, they're $99. That price goes up, I believe, relatively soon, not by much. We actually have, if you want to use a coupon code, if you're listening tonight, want to actually sign up for it, it's IT in the D, it's $10 off.
Coupon code. Yeah. We've only got 20 of them available, though, so please grab them quickly.
Cool.
So if you'd like to go to devopsdays.org, you can find the Detroit site there, use the coupon code IT in the D, $10 off. I mean, it's a pretty inexpensive conference. I mean, if people in the area...
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to an event in New York City, you'll pay $1,300.
Dude, not only that, but even some of the... Oh, God, this gives us aneurysm. Some of the stupid, dumb-ass events that are cropping up around Detroit that are, $5, $6, $15, $1,800. Kiss my ass.
Learn how to network. Only $1,200.
Right.
Buy now.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to sell this to your employer. Really, it's $100, 2 days of your time, invaluable, career,
networking.
Yeah,
you're going to get a T-shirt. You're going to get fed.
Have him email me. Have your boss email me and say,
I will build your business case now.
I'll talk to him. Hey, everything's going to be okay. Your guy's going to love it. He's going to come back energized.
Come back and change your organization.
Well, I was going to say, so what is? I mean, what is the expectation walking out of that 2-day event? What should people be expecting to walk away with or looking for next?
Probably the biggest thing that I'm going for as kind of a business guy now is being able to make that business case. So this is completely nonprofit. It's all practitioner-led. I mean, we're all techies organizing this stuff. And by focusing on the cultural changes, I'm hoping that people can kind of go to their boss and say, hey, this is why we should do that. Not simply, here's a kind of a tool belt of things I can do to get there. Brian?
No, I agree. They'll leave, want to be – I say if you get one good thing out of a conference, even if it's a week long, that conference was a success.
Right.
So we're hoping we at least – kind of put that one good thought in each attendee's mind, get them excited about doing things the right way, collaborating, go back to the business, wanting to move fast safely, and help the business iterate, succeed, be flexible. That's kind of the goal.
DevOpsdays.org. You can see there are actually some all over the country. Click on the Detroit one. That'll lead you directly to the registration from there.
You can see all the information. If you want to submit a talk, you think something's very interesting, you want to get up on stage for 30 minutes and talk about, please do so.
Yep. And this is a great opportunity if you've never presented at a conference before to kind of pitch it, because this is kind of like the farm team for larger ones, say Velocity and some of the other ones on the other coast. All the pitches are going to be actually tape recorded, so you can actually have a copy of your video presentation, which you can use to submit to kind of larger talks. So if you've never spoken at a conference before, and this is something that you feel that you have something to say, please do submit talks, because we are definitely looking for kind of this to be a kind of a grassroots organization here in the Detroit area.
Yeah, the speaker selection philosophy is really seasoned veterans who have really good input and people who are new to this who can also help contribite to the community. I mean, you have to help it grow by getting new people in. The same old guy talks about the same old thing every time.
No echo chambers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a pretty important part of the, like I said, building community as well.
Nice. Okay. So what haven't we hit on yet that we should have?
Well, we get the date, November 11th and 12th, Wayne State. It's $99 for the early bird special, minus $10 for IT and the D, $20 coupon. There's only 20 of them for $10 coupon.
Correct.
I think that's really about it.
Yeah. We'll try to, have some nice beer one of the day. It seems a common theme.
We might be able to hook you up with somebody that could make that happen. So
we've got a guy.
We got a guy.
We'll have somewhat of like a hangout, a lingering event afterwards where people can socialize, etc. So it's not all just about. It's not all play. It's work fun, and work hard, play hard, have fun.
And we're hoping Dave and crew can actually join us as well. So that might be your excuse to come out and meet the big.
I don't really need one, but I'm in. No, because DevOps is one of those topics that even though you think what you're talking about, there's always a different, like you said, you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different viewpoints. There's always a different way of looking at it, a different approach, a different view, a different tack that you haven't tried and because you haven't heard of. And it's those additional viewpoints are what make you a better rounded professional, because it gives you just different tools in the toolbox to pull from the next time you're having the conversation.
And 10 different companies do it 10 different ways too, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got the pitfalls that they've had, the things that worked really well, things that haven't worked really well. So it's like a really good thing to put people together who are doing it actively and saying, how can we all do this better together? I think that's a super cool thing.
And it's fun too, because it's basically a programmatic way to be lazy. You just automate everything.
I'm so in
with an Android.
And I have no empirical evidence for this, but I feel like the title DevOps engineer or DevOps, etc., really kind of was a big city, larger tech hub thing. And now I see him like a smaller company here as like a DevOps engineer title, maybe because they don't know what that means.
That sounded cool.
They don't know what that means yet, but they know they have this vision for their business, but they want someone to come and do it. And maybe not everybody in the Midwest has that tool set or the mindset, and this is helped facilitate that.
Yeah, you want your LinkedIn recruiting to kind of skyrocket, put DevOps in your title. That's guaranteed way.
All day long, man.
I have no idea what that means.
Getting a few emails, are we?
I want to move to a random city to work for, awesomedogfood.net. I mean, we got 20 million in VC. Come on down here.
On a 6-week contract for Perl development. You're like, you didn't read my LinkedIn at all.
Which that never happens. Ever.
Never.
All right, well, cool. Well, I'll tell you, we'll get back more with you guys probably in segment 4 or throughout segment 3 as we go. We are bumping up against a break. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break away. We'll let Erica and her sunburn settle into her chair over there.
So mean.
And we'll come back with Erica, Elise, and Chioki, and then off we go.
IT in the D. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time. ITinthed.com.
Hey guys, it's Ty Mogg, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT&D Show.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. Online Tech is the Midwest leader in secure, compliant, enterprise cloud and colocation hosting services. The company's network of 5 data centers protect mission-critical applications to ensure they are always available, secure, and comply with government and industry regulations. Backed by independent HIPAA, PCI, SOC 2, and Safe Harbor audits, Online Tech delivers exceptional experiences for companies in need of a strategic hosting partner. For more information, call 877-740-5028. Email contactus@onlinetech.com or visit www.onlinetech.com. This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
Welcome back, episode 107 of IT in the D. Here we are in the beautiful Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in Ferndale, Michigan. I am Nuri the AST. I'm sitting here with Dave the Geek. Still here, and Bob is in Las Vegas, probably passed out in the corner.
Well, no, it's only 8 o'clock out there.
Passed out in the corner.
He is working his way back to Bob form. So light switch off on. Yeah, Bob passed out.
Bob, we miss you. We'll see you back next week. So Bob will be back next week, and I will not be. I'll be actually in Manila, Philippines. So continuing my AST vacation.
Continuing your AST,
right? A funny story. My wife actually, one of her friends asked her if I was a spy this week. That's the thing, because I've been in like 6 countries in the last 4 weeks. It's like, so is Nuri a spy? Yeah, anyway.
She should have just ran with it. Well, I can't tell you that, or I'd have to kill you.
The answer's not
I think he works for the State Department or something. Anyway, we got a little business. This segment of IT in the D, episode 107, is brought to you by Braintree. So we've been talking about this a lot lately. Braintree is basically like your mobile payment platform. It's basically,
and makes it nice and easy.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to code one from scratch, why would you do that, right? First of all, security.
So, for example, we have a few people here from Detroit Labs that might want to know about this.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, they say in like 10 minutes, your app can be accepting payments. And they accept all kinds of different things through a mobile SDK and an API. So they've got, PayPal, Apple Pay, Bitcoin, Venmo, cards, and basically all through a simple interface. And it's PCI compliant because you basically just drop in their form and it's ready to go.
Well, and if you don't know what you're doing, so like when it comes to like client applications and that kind of stuff, so client doesn't have a merchant account. Here's the form that walks them through setting up a merchant account. Client doesn't know what kind of payments they want to accept. Here's the form that walks them through what kind of payments they want to accept. Best part is like, so if you're completely jacked and don't know what you're doing, they have a 24/7 staff that's there to answer your questions, and they walk and they'll even put it in for you and build it. And build it for you. They'll walk you through step by step everything you need. So, I mean, it's a nice. I started playing with it. It's a nice little platform.
And what's great is that they're giving you your first $50,000 in transactions fee free. So that's a lot of transactions, especially for like a small app, right? So give it a try. It takes 10 minutes to get running. Go to braintreepayments.com/IT. No coupon code needed. No coupon code needed. So braintreepayments.com/IT and sign up and give them a try.
Yeah. So, and again, we are out at itinthed.com. We are at facebook.com/itinthed. You can find us on Twitter at itinthed. And we are joined by seriously repeat offender. We have Erica Carlson.
Erica, I'm so glad you came. Actually, funny story. I moved my flight. I was originally supposed to go to Manila on Sunday when I got back from Delhi. And
then I whined and said, okay, literally, Bob's going to be in Vegas, and Nuri, you're going to be like with tiny little Asian girls. And like, I'm going to be with a studio full of people all by myself. I hate all of you.
No, and
Nuri was like, oh, wait, no, that's the episode Erica's on? Oh, let me change my flight.
So $800 later, to thank my company, I'm here.
It's good. Dave can't handle me by himself.
No, I can't. Although, hey, I did okay at Penguin Con. I took care of you.
You did. All right. So I just want to say we're in the beautiful new studio where I've never been before, and I kind of feel like my stoner college boyfriend like put on a suit and got a real job, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Best description ever.
That's outstanding.
Classic.
And not incompletely wrong.
So much less murdery.
Well, yeah, so and we also have, Erica Carlson's joining us. We also have Elise Turner. I keep wanting to call you Elise Lopez. I'm sorry. I know it's been over a year. I'll get past that.
It's legally my middle name. It's still correct.
And then we have Chioki.
Yes.
And I'm not, so I was, the first name confused me, but I've got that. So the last name is...
Mose Tellisford.
Thank you, because I figured I was worried about making an ass over the first an ass of myself over the first name. It is what it is.
Both of them.
So Elise and Erica are with Detroit Labs and all the fun stuff they do, and Chioki is with Grand Circus. So I guess so. Erica, tell me about what's been going on with you. Like, so last time we talked, so going all the way back to episode 2, it was Girl Develop It. And then we had you back in a couple other times, and sort of the evolution of Erica.
Oh my God!
That was my favorite episode ever. I learned so much from engineering that show. I did.
Well, yeah, because I remember talking with you afterwards, and you were like, "Oh my God, there are girls in IT, and they are freaking awesome."
I would marry those girls. They could teach me.
So if I recall, you wanted Michelle's biceps, if I recall correctly.
Oh, don't we all?
Wow, yes. I'm not worthy. Yes,
Multiple
absolutely.
Michelle's biceps that I think people want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
And
last
brains, too,
so
of
you were taking over the apprentice program and you were running that. So like, what's new with you at Detroit Labs and what's going on?
Sure. So we just finished up our most recent round of the apprentice program. We actually were commissioned by a client to run an apprenticeship class for them. So they said, hey,
nice.
You guys have trained a bunch of people for yourselves. We love that. Will you train a group for us? And so we did, and they're now all over at that client doing great things and making
Very
good
cool.
apps. Yeah, so they're still part of our Detroit Labs on-site team, which is really cool. And actually my current project is I'm working with Joke and the great people at Grand Circus to put together an iOS boot camp. So we are exploring that together.
Yeah.
Very cool. So obviously it'll be at Grand Circus, I would assume.
It'll be at Grand Circus with Erica teaching. I know that everyone who's ever had Erica as either
great.
instructor,
She's
through the apprenticeship
Everyone who's
program.
ever had Erica just loves it. Absolutely.
We are down one bell.
That moment when everyone goes for the bell at the same time.
This is my first time on IT.
I did.
But yeah, Erica's an amazing instructor. She's taught, with Girl Develop It. People love her there through the apprenticeship program. So really excited to bring an iOS boot camp to Detroit because so many people we've run into who choose to go through an iOS boot camp, they're going to San Francisco, they're going to Chicago, they're going to New York. They can stay at their home, live in an actual home, and not have a shoebox as a house.
We've got a ton of developers here, too, and then just think about the cost that adds, right? If you're going to fly out to San Francisco for an iOS boot camp, you're paying $1,000 the flights, the hotels, the food, and basically you get it right here in your backyard from a name you trust and know is awesome, right?
Exactly. Like Detroit Labs builds beautiful apps. We train people to be developers. It's a perfect little marriage between cousins down the road.
You did it again.
That just got real Kentucky real
did
quick.
You say cousins down the road? Do not ding the bell, anybody.
Yeah, you say. Okay, so like, when is that going to happen?
It starts on September 21st, so applications are due by this Friday?
Yes.
September 4th?
Yeah, September 4th. But
So now when you say applications...
So there's an application process. All people have to do is actually start their initial application. There's multiple phases. One includes a code challenge, and then we have in-person interviews. But for IT and the D listeners, we're actually going to extend that deadline to Monday the 7th. So submit your application deadline by midnight, and we'll get you started through that application process. And it's simple. We really just want to know why you want to be a developer, right? So there are tons of tech jobs here in the city. There's a lot of iOS developer jobs here in Metro Detroit, and we really want to understand why the career switch.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right. So, like, what should people... So how long is the boot camp? Is there an application fee? What does it cost to go through it? What's involved with getting engaged?
So Erica can speak more to the day-to-day, what's happening in the boot camp. It is 9 to 5, but there's no application fee. All we need to know is just basic information about you. There is a tuition cost, so it's $8,500. One thing that I do want to mention is that I know Detroit Labs and Grand Circus are all about increasing diversity within tech and specifically within the developer field. So we have automatic scholarships of $1,000 for any woman, any veteran, and any person of color who applies to this iOS boot camp and really any Grand Circus boot camp. And then, in addition to that, you get $500 off for being an IT and the D listener. So
nice.
We have a little perk.
Look at all these IT and the D discounts. You act like you're famous.
Dude, I'm gonna go to like Hungry Howie's and be like, "So
can I get that IT and the D discount?"
Yeah, really.
At the White Castle.
What?
It's the free cheese discount.
Maybe you guys can have like student discounts for IT and the D listeners, right? You'd be like, you haven't heard of IT and the D Academy?
What's wrong with you? Talk to the guys in Imperial that hooking me up with some tacos.
They might have heard of that. That would have been the people that tried to steal our name. Yeah.
Ring the bell.
We're going there, down that road.
So boot camp is 8 weeks long, and it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., so it's an all-day thing.
Wow, so it's pretty intensive then.
It's a lot of time with me, so,
Which doesn't suck, let's be honest.
You're right. So we're actually going to be teaching the Swift programming language. To my knowledge, we're the first iOS boot camp in the country to teach an entirely Swift curriculum.
See, Swift is brand new, right? It used to be Xcode and Cocoa.
Well,
right?
it's a year and a half old, which is like middle-aged in developer land. But
that's true. Yeah, exactly. There's normal years, dog years, and internet years. So yeah.
No, it is still pretty new. Most of everything out there is still in Objective-C. So we will teach that a little bit as well. But we're going to focus primarily on Swift, which is a lot friendlier and more fun for beginners than Objective-C. And also
Sure,
is
God, yes.
the direction that Apple's trying to take the platform in the future. So we figured we'd go that way and do that. So they're going to come in. They actually have 2 intensive weeks of pre-work before they even come into the classroom. They'll come in. They'll be in lecture with me in the mornings and workshop with myself and some of my coworkers at Detroit Labs. In the afternoons, they'll work together in small groups and kind of simulate what it's like to be on a development team. Good luck to them.
So is that where you yell and scream at people?
No, Dave.
No, absolutely no.
So guide them gently in the proper direction.
I buy them donuts and yeah, no.
I was very honest with them. We had a little open house, and I said, look, you're going to run a marathon for the next 8 weeks, and half the time I'll be running behind you, lashing the whip, and half the time I'll be in front of you, running backwards, cheering you on. So I'm tough. But
at least you're honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Break them down, then build them up. I love it. I won't make a developer out of you yet.
I think you like to see the men crying in the corner.
I've only made one man cry so far.
Oh, that's
a lot of girls, though.
Oh.
Many tears. But tears of joy.
Right. So, actually, let's segue to Elise. So, Elise, you're a developer at Detroit Labs, with Erica. What's your take on this, and what has your experience been like, and how are things going for you at Detroit Labs these days?
Right, so I have kind of an interesting background. I was, before I took the plunge and was Android apprentice with Erica, I had 5 years marketing experience, so my brain thought in a very different way. And then I started learning Java and then learning Android, and it was awesome. And I'm still learning Java right now. As things progressed,
there's always another null pointer exception to learn. Always.
So many. Always. Honestly, it's never going to change. It's always going to be changing, is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be something to learn. It's not always going to be Java, and I'm going to have to take my own advice and take your advice and continue to learn. But while I was learning Android and Java and working on some of the client projects, we started having several product teams popping up at labs. And as a marketer, just kind of by education and profession, I started just sort of doing some fun marketing work on the side. And for the first app that I did it for, Whiskey Nation was started by one of our Android and actually he was iOS as well, developers, Brian Kelly. He really loves whiskey. It's not hard to get on board with that. I was like, that would be so fun to try to market a product app for that. So I started doing some social stuff on the side while I was still learning Android and working on a couple different actual client teams, which was still awesome. I'm basically getting to do all the things.
Right.
Use both the programmatic thinking and the creative marketing strategy side.
So you've essentially gone schizophrenic, is what you're saying.
Basically.
I like to call her a rainbow unicorn.
Okay.
No, I totally get that. I can't do one or the other either. I have to be both sides, otherwise I go crazy.
I like learning all the things, and I think learning how to programmatically think has made me better as a human being in general. It just helps you also continue learning and want to just consume information and always be moving forward. I think that is so important.
He said learning programming makes you a better person. If toast smells like burning, then eject toast.
Right. But
then get new bread.
So marketers like to sprinkle the fairy dust, and very logical people don't like the fairy dust. So it's actually really interesting to be in my head. It's very interesting.
I tell people that all the time.
It's kind of interesting now. Doing more marketing, having the more harsh logical side, and trying to sprinkle the fairy dust and marry the two together. So. As I progressed, one of our other product teams called Current, it basically takes the Detroit Labs hiring philosophy and made it into a web app that other people can use. For those of you who don't know, the Detroit Labs hiring philosophy, we don't really accept resumes. We use a questionnaire, as we call it, a getting to know you GTKY. And we ask all sorts of questions like, what are you passionate about? We ask technical questions like...
If you were a tree.
Yeah.
In the forest.
What we basically try to do is cut through some of the crap that you would get in a resume that just itemizes, things that you might have learned. It
Microsoft 95.
Right. It shows you like a better breadth and depth of someone's knowledge, be it a technical person, be it someone who's doing project management or delivery lead, or someone who wants to do business development. It kind of gives you a better picture. So we thought, hey, we have this awesome way of hiring. Maybe someone else would want to learn how to use it. So
doesn't that kind of depend, though, on having an organization that has the same sort of like cultural outlook and that sort of stuff?
Or philosophy.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of companies, small and mid-size, are interested. They may not be ready to understand the whole philosophy.
Right.
But Current luckily we do allow you to apply attachments, so you can upload a resume. If you can't let go of the resume, it's okay. But it kind of helps take some of the pain out of recruiting. If you're not at a mass level, one of the big three, you need to have something that's a bit more, an applicant tracking system that can handle all the very specific
interesting
things. So I joined the product team and have been helping Current do that. And Labs, I think, is ready for kind of a branding refresh and re-looking at some of the things we've done. And I'm kind of starting to head up that now. So I've gone from hardcore marketer to year of crying in the bathroom, learning all the logic of Java. Nothing makes sense.
I do remember some of those conversations.
I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
I'm a genius, and then also being dumb, and then kind of bringing all the knowledge to Detroit Labs marketing.
Which is smart.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I do want to point out that I think is really interesting about Elise is that I think there are so many people that we see through our bootcamp program that we're seeing also getting through our iOS process, going to join our iOS bootcamp. They bring such a different background that they can then bring to different companies, right? A nurse going to a healthcare company is going to have a different insight than someone coming straight out of a CS department. So I think that's what's really exciting to see coming out of the Labs apprenticeship program and also the Grand Circus boot camps is that you have people who have industry experience that no CS major is going to have.
Well, and there was a great story that hit earlier in the week that was basically, in fact, it might have been 2 weeks ago, where it was, how the liberal arts degree is the new CS degree.
Yep.
And I can't argue with that. My degrees are in biochem and theater arts.
Psychology.
It has nothing to do.
Dance.
Right.
Dance.
Because I love to dance.
You really are all over the place. Wow.
I'd flash dance in the. But so I mean, I am completely on board with that. One of the things that drove me nuts at a company I was at years ago was that I was the only person that company was not my only job. And so when you get tunnel vision, if that's the only industry you've ever been in, that's your only experience, that's your only outlook, you don't understand. Dude, it doesn't work that way everywhere else. What the hell is wrong with you? And why aren't you looking at it this way? And this is how other companies or other industries have solved this problem. It is. I mean, it's especially now we went through the dark times and the long ago when basically there was a huge brain drain here where so many people just bailed, and went to Texas and California and everywhere else to find jobs. And we're starting we see it through through the group and the request to join the group and the emails that we get where people are starting to look to come back now. And it's that same opportunity though for people that are here that aren't necessarily in IT already. Mm-hmm. But want to be or should want to be. There's so many opportunities to go do because there's such a huge need and there's so many programs out there that make it feasible and possible to do.
Yep. And I think unfortunately there's the myth that you have to be a math person or a science person, and you have to be curious. You have to Google well, as Erica says. You have to want to learn. And
the big secret is everybody who's good at IT, just their Google foo is strong.
Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
It's interesting to know, and Erica can be a testament to this. I was in marketing, very visual learner, and some of the people who were in my apprentice class who were engineers or came from more math science background, they understood what Erica said in a way that was different than how I read it. So I'd have to kind of jump through some hoops to figure out what she was saying for that in a way that I understood.
I can't argue with it. I had issues with physics until my physics prof took me to a pool hall and laid out things in the concept of it, and then I was I totally freaking get this now. I'm in. But it's not just how you learn, but it's how you teach, and that's that's the kick. I mean, so like teaching a class is like I've always said, like if I have to fire somebody, okay, where did I go wrong? Like that, what button did I not find? What motivation did I not trip? Like where did I go wrong that I couldn't get that person turned around? And so as a teacher, it's kind of the same thing where, okay, if you don't get it, why are you not, like, what am I not, it's so crystal clear in my head, what am I not doing to get that there for you?
I think it's really interesting teaching programming because you have this quantity of knowledge in your head and you have all this context that you've like forgotten that you have because you've had it for so long and there's so much of it. And figuring out how to transfer that knowledge is the magical part. Like it's not like me learning Swift like I have in the past year. Like that was the easy part, but like figuring out how to like transfer that to somebody else is really challenging. And I learned a lot from Elise and from everybody else in that class.
I was like, I don't get it. I was like, okay.
And she was
like, what are you saying?
And there she goes to the bathroom.
One of our apprentices I was trying to explain pass by reference, pass by value, and she goes, "Can you explain it to me with otters?"
How did you explain it by otters?
You ought to know what I mean when I say.
For the record, I pulled that off. But actually now we ask this question in the interviews for the iOS bootcamp. We say, what kind of learner are you? So I kind of know what my class is going to look like. So I know how many pictures to draw and how many stories to tell and analogies to make and all that kind of stuff.
And I think that's what's so great about having you as a teacher, Erica. It's like if I was somebody coming from a different industry, like say I was coming from nursing, I wouldn't want to sit in front of some CS professor who's basically been there for like 40 years and is going to tell me about punch cards to start off the class. Exactly. I'm going to want someone that I can relate to, someone who...
In the beginning, there was the semicolon.
And it terminated, and it was good.
Right.
I think that's probably the most important part about your bootcamp and why people are going to be so successful is that they're not getting some dry instructor who's a CS. I mean, you can relate to people, and you can help them think, and I think that's why it's going to be so... I mean, I would love to sit through the class if I had 8 weeks, but...
I'm interested to hear more about the recruiting process. Is the turnover really... What's the turnover percentage like compared to... Is there any, anybody who hire at labs, what's it, GT...
GTKY.
Is extremely low. If you do hire someone that and doesn't work out, do you figure out what that pattern was that they didn't fit and kind of tailor the application?
It doesn't happen very often, to be totally honest with you. Part of what we try to mirror with Kermit with our new application.
Once you drink the Kool-Aid and get the one of us speech, you're in.
Wear the robe.
After the fourth day of introduction meetings.
You know what's funny is we all do drink Kool-Aid, but we all drink different colors. Like we're a really weird like mishmash of people. Like we're not kind of all like a hive mind. We're all very different, but we all have a lot of respect for each other's differences. So it works out mostly.
The Kool-Aid was not flavors. She said colors. It's not even a flavor.
I like orange.
Kool-Aid is a color. There's no flavor.
Kool-Aid
is purple. So red. So one of the things...
What smells purple? What?
So the GTKY actually takes a long time to fill out. So one of the actually good...
I'm not going to lie. I remember you like starting the process and you were like, whoa. F these guys. F everything about them. This is ridiculous. I'm never going to do this.
But I liked it a lot more because, so on a resume, all it really told about was, my education or things. It didn't say what I actually wanted to do or things I could do or, maybe how smart. It didn't give you a depth of, like, what I was actually like. Like, you could see, I did these things, but you didn't know anything about me. So when they asked me, like, things I was passionate about or things I had failed at and, like, what did I think I could have done better or, like, some of the technical questions for non-technical people at the time was, like, tell a robot to draw a square and like what would you do? It's a lot.
How would you move Mount Fuji?
Right. Well, like how it kind of it's more interesting because it kind of gives people at labs right now like insight into how you break down problems, how you think about things. Even if you're in a non-technical field, like even if you're if you're a project manager or some of our salespeople, they like to see how you approach different problems that you might encounter.
Yeah.
Do you ever get caught up like this girl likes Nancy Drew novels? I don't like this, so I'm not going to
There's actually checks and balances in place with that. So when you send in a GTKY, I didn't know this when I sent mine in, and I was completely horrified when I found out. It goes through the entire company. Every single person, like there's 70 some of us now, reads it, and everybody gets a +1, -1 vote. Not everybody votes on everything, but basically it's majority rule. So the whole company gets input, and then we each volunteer at different stages of the interview. So we do do like an interpersonal interview for the next stage and then a technical interview as well. So the whole company is
so important, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that's how we kind of try to we avoid the mistakes for the most part.
Well, no, so I mean, like I've always said, like, and I loved it. So actually the place that wanted to shift away from mainframe back in the day. So as I was like hiring in 40 odd people, their HR guy would sit in with these interviews with me, and like after like the third one I did, he pulled me aside and he was like, "Dude, where in the ever living hell did you learn how to interview people?" And I was like, "I didn't. Why?" And he was like, "Well, because you ask some of the most off the wall, bizarre." So I would ask people questions like, "Okay, so what's your favorite movie?" and give me a quote from it. So not just hit me with a platitude of "I enjoyed the Joy Luck Club," but no, hit me with a quote from it. Yeah, no, because I mean that tells me you actually watch. So and then I always ask people, "So are you more like when you were in school? Did you enjoy algebra or geometry?" There is no right or wrong answer, but it gives you an insight into the person's profile because, so if somebody says algebra, they like structure. Because, I mean, in like algebra, there is only one way to get to the answer, and that's it. And so you must follow that way. Geometry, it doesn't matter if you go 3 answers or like 3 steps or 30 steps. As long as you get there, you're good. Like those are the more creative people, and you let them go and you let them flow. It's not 100% accurate, but damn, it's close.
I like that.
What about length of time for in-person interviews? I'm under the opinion that the longer the better. Some of the most like positive interviews I've been in were 8 hours, and people want to
8 hours the entire time.
I would
like
shove a pen in someone's eye if they kept me in a room for 8 hours.
If you get grilled and you talk to some interesting people, you can learn a lot from if you didn't want the job. I think. Can you like really pigeonhole someone in and out? So does this application attempt to like?
So it shows you a lot more than you would get like on a phone screen. It kind of it cuts through a couple layers of, first of all, crap, and also like some of the steps that your recruiter or your team of your team members might have to pay.
So it seems like you're shifting a lot of that time, like the interpersonal analytical time, into the application. Which
it's showing, and so another part of the resumes is that it is oftentimes used as a filter, and you are sometimes filtering out people who may have incredible skills.
Yeah.
We've had so many million. Oh my God!
Alphabet soup. I want to die, etc.
Yeah.
So the interpersonal interview is usually about an hour, but it can last longer than that. Sometimes we have people stay for lunch and hang out with us if we really like them. So
it depends on the group that wants to interview.
Yeah, there's not really any set time limit. My tech interview personally was 4 hours long, which was brutal. But it was because we were having fun. I learned a new language during it, and so we were all just kind of riffing and doing code katas and having a good time together. So typically they're maybe closer to 2 hours, but we make space for the candidate and kind of see how much time we want to spend with them and all that kind of thing.
Cool.
Another thing, so Current actually helps with this because Nathan used to do this manually via email. So when all the people of the company can see your GTKY, Current now lets you comment on the side, as opposed to the mile-long email chains we used to get.
The worst.
Email where people would, verbally like upvote or downvote people or say, I didn't like this thing about this comment, or like, what, this person's full of crap.
They mentioned platypus 3 times.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Detroit Labs is a reply all culture.
In some cases, there have been at many retros. There have been many things.
We have many opinions about reply all.
Yeah, varying opinions.
All right. Well, hey, we are bouncing up against a break. I don't want to lose that. Let's get back more into it. So this has been a good night. I'm content. So here we are, episode 107, IT in the D Show. We will be back in just a sec.
IT in the D, networking Detroit, one beer at a time. itinthed.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are listening to IT in the D.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Let me take you to a place I know you wanna go.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
Welcome back and thanks for listening. This is episode 107 of IT in the D. We're here in the beautiful Detroit Sound Studios.
Not stadium.
Yes. One day it will be a stadium. It will. One day it will.
We will be rock gods.
Fired,
Coming
nerd.
to you.
Coming to you live.
Can't talk. I have peanuts in my mouth. Peanuts.
Wait, what?
Shut up, Dave.
As always, we're here with Dave the Geek. I am Nuri the FNG. Bob the sales guy is out being a sales guy in Las Vegas. So, Bob, hope you're doing well.
He and 40,000 other of his khaki pant wearing, blue jacket wearing loafer wearing.
toting.
Yes.
Coming from the man in khaki shorts.
But at least they're shorts.
They're cargo shorts.
True.
Yeah.
Nuri, what is an FNG?
Friendly new guy. Actually,
or there's another F there.
Right.
That might be.
But this is on my LinkedIn profile. Friendly new guy. Yeah.
So actually, you know what I did? I wanted we had this topic a couple weeks ago, and I said, no, I don't want to talk about it now. I want to talk about it when Erica and Elise are coming on because it made sense. So there is this trend going on out in California. There's one particular lawyer that's making this an issue, and he is filing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit about women-only tech events. And so when it comes to GDI and when it comes I have my own opinions on. You know my opinion, but so how do you address stuff like that? And I know Girl Develop It is not women only, but I mean what's your take on this lawyer that's out there filing these lawsuits?
What's the premise of the lawsuit?
That it's discriminatory.
Interesting.
I thought so too.
You look, you have an opinion, so I want you to jump in.
No, I mean, so Grand Circus, we actually started a women's only series, and so a lot of it has to do with networking or building your resume or LinkedIn profile. What I noticed was a lot of women that came were interested in changing careers, specifically in the tech industry. And it wasn't just for tech people, but I think that there's a marked difference in the interaction and the amount that women participate when it's women only versus having men there. And I think, right, when you think about the tech industry, I think a lot of people have this image of a 22-year-old
khaki
Bob,
pants,
right, khaki
blue
pants,
blazer.
right,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Either wearing the blazer on the older end, wearing the sweatshirt on the younger end.
Right.
And I think that can be intimidating, and it can create the culture of, the word that's going around is the programming culture,
Programmers,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Right, where you have your ping pong tables and
And they bring cheerleaders in. Aw,
Yes.
isn't that effing adorable?
Right.
It's effing something.
So, I mean, I think, what...
So no cheerleaders at Detroit Labs is what you're saying?
For each other's cheerleaders.
At least bust out her dance move once in a while, but other than that, that's all we got.
But it's only for me.
Exactly.
Just when she's in the zone.
Yeah. Just dance it out.
No, so what's interesting? So Girl Develop It, of course, is not, women only. It's targeted at women, and anytime a guy emails me and says, hey, can I come to an event? I say, yeah, sure, here's our code of conduct.
As long as you don't have a CCW. Yeah.
Right, oh, man, I forgot all about that.
I forget nothing. There's a reason why they call me Google.
Oh, I'm in so much trouble. But the goal isn't to keep it that way forever. It's not just that we're we're women and we're going to go live in our little commune and never integrate with the larger tech world. But the goal of women-only spaces is to make a space where women can come in and, feel welcome and feel I cannot count the number of people that I've had say to me, I would never have come and taken a tech class if it were not through Girl Develop It, if it weren't targeted to women, if it didn't make me feel like this is a comfortable environment for me.
Right.
So, the goal is that we have it now so that we don't have to have it in the future.
And I will say a lot of women actually that go through our boot camp start at Girl Develop It or they start at Sisters Code. They got comfortable, confident, and then they came in and rocked it, right? And so I think what I would actually ask of that lawyer in Silicon Valley and the people he's representing, how many times do you actually look around and feel like you're the only man there, right?
It's like when you're on Twitter and you see an old white guy claiming about discrimination, right? It's basically that.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I feel like the tech industry has... You're right. It has this deep-seated, almost the cards are stacked against you if you're a woman going into an IT department for many reasons. Because
it's a stereotypical old white boys club.
Right.
It absolutely is.
It's intimidating though too.
Yeah, Dave. I want GDI to be irrelevant so badly. I want us to not need it anymore. I want it to not be a thing. I want to just be an engineer and not a girl engineer.
It should just be DI.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. So this is one solution.
Well, no, and we've seen it. Just with some of the folks that have come to our events. Us. We could not possibly be any more open, welcoming. We don't give a damn who you are. But I can totally tell a difference between somebody who's showing up to our event blind versus someone who's come to us because they've heard about us through you, or someone who's heard about us through Grand Circus. I mean, it's a marked difference because they carry themselves differently. It's not the I'm used to, like, at our events, there are usually two categories of wallflowers at our events. There are the serious, heavy-duty, hardcore nerds that have, like, been sent out as a landing party to check us out from whatever users they belong to. Oh no, they totally might as well be in red shirts in a Star Trek episode. They like.
I've seen them.
Oh yeah, and Bob will pick them up and be like, okay, dude, those are your people. Go, and it's like I'll be like, hey, what group are you here from? Let's get this out of the way. And then women, and I mean, and it's hard, and so the other. And here's the other hard part of it is being a guy running a group. It's hard to not come across as being weird when you're, again, you know me. I'm overly welcoming. I am who I am, whether I'm here with a mic in my face or at one of our events or at a wrestling event. Yeah, I'm a little bit out there and over the top. And some people will take that wrong. And so trying not to be like it. And I have a different approach when it comes to a guy wallflower that's sitting back there with his, khakis and his plaids and the whole 9 yards versus a girl who's showing up for the first time, because it does need to be a different welcoming approach. And it's effed up that needs to be the way it is, but it is where we are. And and honestly, that's why when that story came across, I was like, three white guys aren't going to sit around and have that conversation. I wanted to wait until, you were in to kind of get your opinions.
Elise, what do you think?
I definitely think having an environment that feels, safe, I guess emotionally, if I want to get into the women emotion thing. But I mean, when I was a little kid, I remember I was in a math class in the 3rd grade. This is like a prime example of like why I didn't necessarily pursue science or technology. I had trouble like understanding some of the simple math premises. It wasn't because I was stupid. It wasn't taught to me in a way that I could really grasp.
With otters.
Right.
Take one away.
But my math teacher read our scores aloud when I was 8 years old.
Humiliating.
And so humiliating. And so having groups where you feel like, okay, I can mess up, and not all the 8-year-olds aren't going to look at me and tell me that I'm stupid. Kind of thing. It feels nice to have an environment where you feel safe doing something that's kind of math or technically.
So you basically have a love and logic way of teaching for the women.
Yeah.
Dave's like, shut up, K-Hub.
No, I actually do think...
No, I actually kind of like that.
It's kind of true, though, because you still have to be a hard ass, and you still have to love the women, because sometimes we need some
Erica's upcoming book, Eat, Pray, Code.
One woman's journey in code takes her around the world.
TM.
It helped me get to a level of confidence so that I could go to other things and then, get my butt kicked and have people, like be like funny, jerky to me, and I would be okay, and I wasn't feeling like,
That's love and logic.
Yeah. But programming can be hard, right? I think in our boot camps, almost without fail, every boot camp, day 2, there's at least 1 or 2 people who are like, I can't do it. Like, this is just way too hard. And then you give them a pep talk, or you say, you know what, I'm going to talk to you about blankety blank, who had the exact same feelings, who had the exact same experience, who also was a mom, who had 2 kids at home, who's making a career change in her late 40s or late 30s. Now she's working full-time at X, Y, and Z company. Like, she can do it, you can do it. And I think you have to have that. And I think, unfortunately, too often men have this bravado where they know everything, and they're going to always have the dominant opinion and not notice that they talk over somebody. Right.
Never.
Well, and they have the slap your ass and move on with the game mentality, too. So that's something that, women and men are just wired differently. So it is a different approach. I appreciate it.
Too, yeah.
What I notice in teaching is that men are just a lot better at faking until they make it. Like, they'll just jump in there and be like, I'm going to own this.
Said no one ever.
Never.
But as we know,
but it's true.
Yeah, no, as we know, like, developer culture is very. I'm smarter than you, and you're like, it's like it's a thing.
So I just knew it.
I will freely admit this. I've been told that, like, so whether it's Trivial Pursuit or whatever game it is that we're playing, one of the reasons why people that I know hate playing it with me is that even when I'm wrong and I know I'm wrong, damn it, I sound like I know what the hell I'm talking about, and so they question the card.
I am never playing poker with you ever.
Like Milton Bradley, I think on this card.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the moops. I'm pretty sure it's.
So you're a developer. I think it's like a stress response to being wrong 98% of the time. So you just
because and it is. I mean, it is kind of that male ego thing where you're trained like being wrong is like the worst thing that you can ever do. And it's not. And so and that is also part of the dynamic where some of the okay, so like Bob and I are we relate to each other in a certain way, okay? But when it comes you bring a woman into that dynamic, you can't quote unquote bust balls like with a girl that's new into that dynamic like you can with a guy because the platform is different, like the starting point is different, and things get taken differently, and so and that's part of the learning curve for guys that are developers as well. Is that okay? Look. Just because you find 8 errors in somebody's code and you go bag, no, and it especially doesn't work with a woman because it's a different starting point, and it's not. It sucks that is what it is, but that's people react differently.
Yep. And I think, unfortunately, too often women, people of color, are the ones that have to change how they operate. And I think what this guy's fighting against is what I have to do something differently as a white male, right. Like, shocker.
Yeah, why do I have to get out of my comfort zone?
So I think that's something that I think a lot of people are flipping the script on and saying, like, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Twitter, you got to have more diversity in tech. And, we're going to point out that your Twitter, frat party Twitter was not, or it isn't acceptable, right?
I have a question. Were any of his clients, did they ever try to go to any of these events? Was it did they just...
apparently, yeah.
And they were they were kicked out.
And what's next? And are you suing an all-girls school because they would admit your son? Or, I mean, it's slightly different, but it's kind of the same
dude,
thing.
It's right up there with the idiot that and again, legal never equals logical. It's like the dude that found a lawyer that would take his lawsuit because they wouldn't hire him at Hooters.
Yeah.
Dude, the premise of Hooters is not.
Did he win?
No, he did not. I mean,
I didn't hear about that one. So,
but I mean, it's like that. It is, and it's one of those. But it's one of those frivolous, annoying lawsuits that you hope it doesn't hit the point where, with all of the the patent troll lawsuits, where for a long time there were a lot of companies that were like, it's going to cost us more to fight it than it is to pay this D-bag $20,000 to make them go away. Okay, but then what you miss is that sets a precedent.
Yep.
And then the next company he goes after, they settled because they knew they were wrong, and yet that's what concerns me about stuff like that is that you should be able to have your own niche groups. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a group for women. There's nothing wrong with having a group for people of color. There's, I assure you I can't start a group that says, hey, white guys that do IT on Facebook and not catch a lot of crap. But there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I mean,
it's already inherently kind of like that.
Right. True. But that's. It's okay because it is because of those points of commonality and that, you having that sort of level playing field when you walk in the door that makes all the difference in the world to give you the confidence to go out into those other groups.
And I think what's so bad about this is it may be someone trying to make a quick buck, but they're basically trying to undo something that is really pushing good social change in our country.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to be more detrimental than some guy getting $20,000 from some organization.
Yeah.
It's really,
because I think something that someone pointed out to me, because I was talking to her about diversity in tech, and she's in Chicago, does a lot of great work there. And I was just saying, Grand Circus, we really want to make sure that our boot camps are diverse. Right now we're at just under 50% women, just under 50% people of color, which is phenomenal for a lot of boot camps around the country. But what she said was interesting is you don't have to change the perception of people. What other boot camps and other IT companies are fighting is changing that perception. So if all of a sudden this lawsuit comes through and people in Silicon Valley are saying, we're going to stop having support, organizations for women or, then women might say, well, I guess that's not the company I want to work on or work for.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, again, I mean, that's the part that concerns me is that it's America. Nobody thinks through.
You're fired. I'm saying it's America.
It's America. Nobody thinks of the repercussions of their actions anymore.
The degradation of America.
Yeah, I mean, nobody thinks through what the long-term effects of what they do are, because they don't have to, because it's all about me.
So if we build a wall between us and Canada,
oh, mother of God!
I'm going to Mars.
Not only that, yeah, dude. I'm not gonna lie. So one of the great links that came across today was it was a New York Post piece that basically said nation with crumbling roads, bridges, and infrastructure, incredibly excited to build wall between them and Mexico. It's sad that wasn't an Onion article. And then the follow-up hit that, there's actually people doing feasibility studies about a wall between us and Canada.
So we're like Germany now? Tear down that wall. I mean, what are we doing?
It makes no sense whatsoever, because, again, it keeps coming back to there is not a single person, there are very few people in this country that cannot trace their ancestry back to a boat of one form or another within the past 300 years. Unless you are, Cherokee or some other form of Native American, guess what? Be thankful that they didn't have more restrictive immigration policies when we were showing up on their shores.
Right. We're lucky.
Well, that's why I love. There was a great political cartoon that was basically it was an Indian chief, obviously talking to Donald Trump, who said, "You know what? You're absolutely right. I completely support your birthright policy. Here's your ticket." Back to you.
and speaking of Donald Trump, did you see the Banksy graffiti of Donald Trump made to be a pile of poo? In New
that
York
was basically
City?
Chet at the end of Weird Science.
Oh, yeah, yes.
With the toupee on it. That was
you know what? His hair is terrible. And here's the problem. I don't have a problem with some of the ideals behind what he says. He's a businessman. At the end of the day, a lot of what he does makes sense. However, he's a damn idiot, and he's going to get us blown up. Bottom line.
Well, and that's why, what kills me is, you look at the reactions from around the rest of the world. It's not that Donald Trump is what's wrong with America. It's that Donald Trump is everything that the rest of the world expects America to be.
Yes.
If that doesn't scare the ever-living hell out of you and want you to do everything you possibly can in your power to keep that man out of the White House, I don't know what will.
People are going to vote for him because he's Donald Trump.
Oh, of course they will.
And in mass quantities.
I was watching that debate, and we were playing
the debate was
drinking game.
Crazy.
And one of the drinking game things says, drink whenever a candidate says something that's terribly racist or homophobic, and the crowd cheers.
Were you smashed?
There were 3 times, and someone said something.
So 20 minutes in, we were all behind. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous for because it is, and people will vote for him.
Yes.
And they don't pay attention. Okay, he's a great businessman. Yes, who's declared bankruptcy 4 times.
Right.
And I love, I said, and people when he announced his candidacy, and he was like, one of the biggest problems with this nation is that everybody's exporting their jobs overseas and nothing's being built here anymore, which was immediately followed up by somebody on Twitter that hit him with the view of the shirts, the Donald Trump line of shirts. With their little Made in China tag.
Yes.
Right next to them.
And I read that he imports employees to work at his resorts with H-1 visas.
And probably his girlfriends, too. I'm sure that's happening. Absolutely.
Well, from Russia.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's no wall between us and Russia.
Ashley Madison's dated up about that.
You know what? And what I will say,
at
and I know we went off tangent here, but what I will say about the presidential debate and election, this is hands down going to be the most exciting television I have seen in a long time. I can't wait.
I'm still waiting for the day when we evolve as a society where it comes down to Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Idiocracy.
So when it gets down to 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yes.
or woman.
Can
leave.
we sponsor it here?
Dude, if we could do Thunderdome,
Podcast Detroit.
I would care so much more about politics if it came down to Thunderdome.
Me too. That or a really good competitive dodgeball game. Yeah.
So I always said
I don't know.
I always
Do you
said the
see what
problem with
happened
Iron
here?
Chef is that they didn't have a guy like
He
me.
says croissant. You have to watch the Japanese one.
No, those are the ones I'm talking. They didn't
Watch
have
American
a dude
version.
like me, on the panel. They always had very sophisticated people that were on the panel and were like, "Oh, I'll try your bacon wrapped fish raw, whatever thing, ice cream that you were doing. Like there wasn't one guy sitting there going, "What in the ever living hell?" There's no debate that's moderated by a guy like me.
No, there's not. You need an average show.
That will call you and go, okay, and they ask a question, and then they go off into left field with it. No. Jackwad, that's not the question I asked you.
Hashtag needs more Dave.
All right, well, hey, I feel bad. We didn't even get to talk about Galaxy Quest possibly coming back as an Amazon series. There's so many other cool topics we didn't get to, but we are bumping up against the end of the show. So everybody, thank you so much for coming out. So let's see, Jamie, Brian. So again, where do we find out more about the DevOps conference?
DevOpsdays.org. It's November 11th and 12th at McGregor Conference Center in beautiful Detroit.
Awesome.
Wayne State University. $99, or tonight if you use IT and the D coupon, it's $89, so you can save 10 bones. $100, 2 days of pretty valuable stuff. You want to advance your career and be a boss and get all those LinkedIn requests.
What's your email address if we need you to write a business case for us? No.
All right, and so Erica and Elise, where do we find out more about Detroit Labs and everything that's going on with the Apprentice program and the new thing that's going on with Grand Circus?
DetroitLabs.com. DetroitLabs.com/apprentice.
You got it.
DetroitLabs.com/apprentice. And for current, if you're interested, www.hirecurrent.com. Hirecurrent.com.
And if you're interested in the iOS bootcamp, go to
I was just about telling you, Chioki. God, give me a second.
I like her.
Give a guy a second.
I knew it was the end of the show.
I think we found our third musketeer. I like her.
It's our studio. We'll take as much damn time as we need.
So on today's Chioki Hour, we're going to talk about so the information about the iOS bootcamp is www.grandcircus.co. And again, you will have the application extended till Monday, September 7th.
Cool.
$500 off for any IT
Which is
listener.
Labor Day, so you might want to go Tuesday. Just
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Midnight, right? Midnight.
Midnight, am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, I do want to encourage all women, people of color, veterans to apply because you get an automatic $1,000 scholarship on top of that.
So now, if you are a woman of color who is in the military, do you get $3,000? Oh yeah, with IT, so then you get $3,500 off.
No, you'll get $1,500.
Incentives are not stackable.
Unfortunately,
but we will think that you're really, really cool.
Yes, we will. We will.
Dog, I heard you like discounts.
Awesome. Okay, and then so, Karen, we need to get you to figure out when you're going to be back on the air again.
I'll be back when I freaking feel like being back. I'm K-Hub. You can find some of my replays over on khubradio.com, but you will also find me with IT and the D on Labor Day at Blackfin for the networking event. Thank you, because you love me, for the networking event. And the doors are at 7 for that event.
Actually, we'll be there starting at about 5:30 because 5:30. So Theo Gridiron is going to kick us. So that the forward down the he's doing a show on our network.
Yes.
So he's going to be firing that up next Monday, starting at 6 o'clock. So we'll be there at about 5:30, the back room of the Blackfin, getting all the gear set up and all that fun happy hoo-ha. Theo will be doing his show, and then
I'll be doing a live broadcast that day.
Yeah, and then we've got the Motown Mojo Live guys that'll be there because apparently they know all the bands that are playing. So we'll just have musicians coming in and out, awesome. And then we'll be doing our show from 9 to 11, and just having all the different shows come out and talk about who they are and what they're doing and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah,
and that's a free event, correct?
Of course, it's free.
It's a free event because all of your all of your networking events are free.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I will be out there. I am doing things, so don't think I'm actually kind of revamping my show a little bit. I'm still keeping all of my meat and potatoes.
Kind of taking a breath from all of the fun and excitement.
Yes, but you know what? It's been amazing. So there's actually been a lot in progress. So don't worry, I will be back, my listeners. And in the meantime, you can check me out at khubradio.com.
Awesome. So, and Erica, when's the next Girl Development class spinning up, and what is it about?
Oh my gosh, I actually don't even know.
That's right, because you've kind of taken a step back.
Yeah,
these days,
I'm in advisory capacity now.
I like those words.
That's another word for boss.
You can find us at girldevelopment.com and find the class schedule online.
Awesome. All right, so hey, we are at itandthed.com. You can find us at facebook.com/itandthed and on Twitter at itandthed, because we are all things IT and the D, and you miserable scheming bastards still are not and never will be.
Maybe next time.
So, hey, that's it for this. This is episode 107 coming to a close. We have more fun and exciting. We just published out episodes 108 through 112 and who's going to be guests on the show today. And again, don't forget, Pink Slip Party, Thursday, September 17th. We'll be taking over the Majestic. It's $5 parking. There'll be plenty of food, booze, and lots of great people in the IT community.
Grab an Uber as well if you don't want to drive drunk.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We'll probably have some drivers
drive
there.
some people home.
Right?
Yes.
All right. So, hey, that's it. We'll see you guys next time around.
Peace.
Bye.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
Long live Flash! You've saved your life. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy. Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
To own the truth.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing. The alphabet. It's brilliant. Yeah, I can't take that position. That analogy sucks because it's right. Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up. Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Yeah. Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT and the D Show.